Welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance to working Rhode Island families. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Jim Riley. I'll be your host tonight. Tonight we've got a very special show. Our guests are Matt Taibi, Secretary Treasurer of Teamsters Local 251 in Rhode Island, and Michael Simone, Organizing Director at Local 251 Teamsters. You guys are involved in some really heavy-duty, big negotiations right now. 200,000 individuals. We're talking about the UPS and UPS freight contract. This is a national contract being negotiated. I understand you've had some sessions already, and you're moving forward with a couple of new sessions next week and the week after. Issues, as usual, always the same: health and welfare, pension, part-time hours, full-time hours, transition from part-time hours to full-time hours, harassment on the job, management doing bargaining unit work, and also excessive forced overtime. It's the kind of stuff that not only, it's not the fault of the worker that the company has to force this excessive overtime on you. It's the fault of the company for not having enough employees, for having too many part-time employees and not enough full-time employees. Would you agree with me on that?
Absolutely.
I would agree. Yeah.
So they tried to pull this guy on you guys up here at in Rhode Island, and they thought they just could make you work 70 hours. And you guys responded, your memberships responded. Tell us about when you heard about it, how you prepared for it, and what you did about it, and how the membership was all involved.
So the issue of excessive forced overtime is nothing new, particularly for package car drivers. For UPS, so that's nothing new. It's a give and take all the time. It's a push and pull where drivers don't want to work 10, 11, 12 hours a day normally. Some do, but most don't. There's always an issue of whether or not they work over 9.5 hours, which equates to about a 10.5 hour day with lunch, and everything enforcement of grievance procedure thereof. Well, this Christmas season, this holiday season, the company was behind on Cyber Monday, Cyber Week, and it was a big deal to them. And instead of preparing properly, like they should have, to their own admission, they were going to hire the same amount of seasonal employees, but have 5% more volume projected. So I'm at a loss, logically speaking, how they're going to get 5% more out of work out of the same amount of people, but they just thought that everything would be okay. And when it wasn't, they decided to apply for an exemption with the Department of Transportation and say that package car drivers could work 70 hours a week in an 8-day rather than 60 hours a week in 7 days. So our people were not hearing that one bit whatsoever. So we didn't hear it from the company, either locally or nationally, regionally, nothing. We heard it from our members. Managers and supervisors went directly to drivers saying, on a Friday, mind you, saying, you weren't going to have enough hours tomorrow because, whether or not they were up against 60 hours for the week. Where they have to guarantee them 8 hours of work or pay to work a sixth day. Well, you weren't going to have enough hours for them to come in tomorrow, but now that you can work 70 hours, you have to come in. That was what they were telling people. And of course, our job to listen to people who certainly were very upset about this, and we expressed our disagreement with that very forcefully, and went up the chain as far as regional negotiating committee and council to address the issue or give us some guidance. So that broiled over that day. We had some meetings with management, said that we absolutely disagreed with this, and we would take all appropriate and legal action to enforce our members' rights. Our Joint Council 10 New England, took the lead on this and went about coordinating action plan for the coming days.
Joint Council 10, just let me interrupt it. Tell us who Joint Council, what that encompasses.
So Joint Council 10 are all of the locals in New England, all the 6 states in New England, led by Sean O'Brien, head of Local 25 in Boston, and all of the UPS locals in New England were affected by this. And the Joint Council put out a call for informational leafleting and parking lot rallies for the following Monday, and had a social media campaign where a lot of pictures of parking lot rallies were going on. Our people took it a little further. Mondays during the holiday season is an optional voluntary early start. You can start an hour and a half early to get a jump on your day. It's typically a very busy day. And in early parking lot meetings, our members said, you know what, we're not going to go in optionally early. We're getting mistreated and it's unfair. We're just going to start at our normal start time. So you had over 400 or 500 drivers in the parking lot waiting for their start time, and just enjoying their morning with their brothers and sisters drivers. And then everyone well ahead of their start time filed in to start their day. This enraged management. They basically said that there would be 26,000 packages that wouldn't make delivery that day, approximately. And that was what it was, and it set them back for the week. The Joint Council then called for additional parking lot informational leafleting over a driver's right to demand only a 10-hour day, no more than a 10-hour day, and then also informational leafleting on safe practices related to over 70-pound packages. Your right to demand help, your right to seek assistance so that you don't hurt yourself. All the while, the message of public safety, driver safety was being put out there, and lack of respect from management. This was something that there was sort of a mixed response from our international leadership. Initially, not an internal memo, and then a much stronger response a couple days later, saying that this was totally disrespectful. This issue has been brought up in national negotiations since, but it's a relatively new, egregious bad behavior of the company. Where we're used to. I worked 14 and a half years at UPS. We're used to aggressive management where they constantly push the limits on their responsibilities in the collective bargaining agreement, but this was a sort of an all-time low.
Sounds like your membership is really activated by this and very much involved, and everybody in the entire New England Council. And I understand that this has been going on, the District Council 10, it just went around all around the country, and the company heard that you're serious. It's so important, isn't it? I mean, you can have leadership in your local union, and it's important to have good leadership in your local union, but if you don't have the members behind you and backing you and really kind of leading the charge in a sense, then you're in big trouble. Tell us about how your membership responds like that. I mean, that's terrific what they've done. I heard about that rally in the morning. It said it was crazy. A lot of my friends went.
It was definitely exciting for our members. Our members just were at a point where they weren't going to take anymore. They recognize that the holiday season's busy, that their job in general is physically demanding, it's mentally wearing, it's you're just dealing with everything, all the elements, all the time. So to be disrespected in such a way that you're told, well, you need to work a 6-day, and you need to work over up to 70 hours. Our members were furious. Some people may want to work that, and that's their right to voluntarily do so. But for the most part, everyone stuck together. Well, everyone did stick together, but for the most part, everyone felt that this was totally disrespectful, and they shouldn't have to be forced.
You've got a pretty active retiree group as well in your local union that are very much involved, continue to be involved as they're retired, but in regular activities at your local union, and big supporters of your local union.
Yes, our retiree chapter is great. Mike Pearl is the president, Paul Griffin and Stu Mundy are all involved in their leadership. They meet regularly. They have the store, which sells all the Teamster gear.
Yeah.
They do a good job with that, and they go on the picket lines. They come to events. They're at everything. And one of the things that I told them early on upon taking leadership was, these are the folks that generations ago built the labor movement, built the union, and we're merely standing on their shoulders, and we want to keep it going.
Well, I can tell you this. If anybody goes to the Elks Club on Saturdays in East Providence and they bring up anything about not liking unions, Jack Whalen takes care of that conversation pretty quickly. Good retiree
Jack.
and still very proud to be a Teamster. So what was the membership's response to the activity that took place, and how are they feeling about, and how are you feeling about negotiations going forward? Very, very important stuff going on next week and the week after. What lessons did you learn from the action that you took, and what's going to happen if the company doesn't get the message as we're moving forward?
Well, it was clear, at least locally, that our members wouldn't back down, would not back down at all, and the company did. The company relented. They agreed that it was a voluntary practice and would not continue. In other parts of the country, that may not have been the case, but at least speaking for my local, we didn't back down. The company did. Since then, we had a membership meeting at the end of January where we had leadership from the Joint Council speak, and the turnout for UPSers was probably one of the biggest turnouts of UPSers I've seen since being in the local. So our members are really active. They want a good contract. They want a union that fights, and they're excited by it.
You know what else I think, from an organizing point of view, I think this is a great tool, because if you've got an organizing campaign and people hear about how, what the members are willing to do and what the leadership of a local union is willing to do, they feel like they're really part of something that's going to care about them. And I think it's a great organizing tool to have these kinds of activities. Michael?
It is, definitely. With the organizing, the non-union employees, we always tell them about the local, about the leadership, about our membership, which is around 6,000 in the state, and that during an organizing drive, if we have to have some kind of action, that they're not going to be alone, that the local is going to be behind them, and so is our membership, because we have a very active membership. So we stress that point to unorganized workers.
Well, in the next session of this great interview, and you guys, I just love the work that you're doing. We're going to talk about organizing, and that's something that's very close to my heart. Thank you all for visiting us again here at Labor Vision, and we'll see you next time. Good evening, and welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. We're back here tonight with our second segment on the Volunteer Income Tax Assistant, or VITA program, run by the United Way of Rhode Island. If you remember from the last segment, anyone making less than $55,000 a year is eligible to have their taxes done for free. And if you have children, you qualify for the EITC and Child Tax Credit, which can put considerable cash refunds into the bank accounts of hardworking people like you. Last year, VITA volunteers completed 13,000 forms and saved taxpayers in Rhode Island $23 million. And the wonderful people who are our guests here tonight want to raise those numbers, and they've got some great ideas on how to do it. They are Zoya Tseytlin from Connect for Rhode Island Children and Families, and Roshni Darnal from Federal Hill House. So, Roshni and Zoya, welcome again to the show. Roshni, as coordinator of the Providence Coalition, I understand that you oversee 10 VITA sites in Providence, but you've got some ideas, and it's really exciting, about doing some new outreach into the community so we can get those numbers up higher. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, absolutely. So you're correct. I do oversee the Providence EITC VITA Coalition, and we have 10 VITA sites all across the city of Providence. In addition to those VITA sites, we are also proposing to do pop-up VITA sites, as they're called, or we also refer to them as satellite sites. And the purpose of these sites are to take VITA to individuals, families, or taxpayers who may not have access to VITA in their local communities or in their neighborhoods. So we want to bring the program to them. And one way we're going to do that this year is by having pop-up sites at different union halls. Our first one is going to be on February 14th. The second one is scheduled for the 21st, and they're both going to be at ILSR.
Oh, the Institute for Labor Studies and Research in Cranston.
Absolutely. So anyone living in that community or neighborhood, including labor union members, are welcome to come and participate in the program. We're going to have volunteers who are ready to do returns. We bring all our infrastructure with us. So honestly, all people need to do is just show up with all their documents and just be prepared to have their taxes done.
Terrific. I know there's a number they can call to find out what they need to bring, but can you give us an idea of what the folks need to bring so that they can hear it from you?
Yeah, absolutely. So all taxpayers that walk into a VITA site need to present a original Social Security card, a copy of their ID, not a copy, actually an original ID, a Social Security and original ID. They also need to bring their W-2s if they worked last year, or any other form of income that they might have had. So if they worked independently, a 1099 form, or if they had a small business, any relevant information pertaining to their income. They can also bring their child expenses information. If they had children in daycare, they can bring all of that information. If they purchased a home, or anything pertaining to a major life event that could affect their tax returns. We also prepare returns for individuals that are 65 years and older, or that individuals that might be on disability that qualify for a specific Rhode Island credit called the Rhode Island Property Tax Relief Credit. So for individuals that are coming in for that, they need to bring in also their Social Security benefit award letter and their rent receipts.
Excellent. Now, Zoya, I understand that you've also got a report on some excellent new opportunities to have an even bigger outreach to folks to get those numbers even higher. Tell us about those opportunities.
Oh, yes. Yes, Jim. So we have been partnering over the years with several area colleges to promote the VITA program, recruit volunteers. But this year, Rhode Island College really stepped up and became a partner on a whole different level through their School of Management. United Way and Connecting for Children and Families outreach to Rhode Island College School of Management. We went out and did an orientation and information session for the volunteers, and we had a group of about close to 100 School of Management students come out, and they were interested in learning how to become a certified tax preparer through the IRS to participate in the VITA program. And many of those volunteers will be preparing returns all over the state of Rhode Island this tax season. Additionally, we will be holding tax preparation pop-up sites right on Rhode Island campus. Some of the dates that's going to be happening will be February 21st and 22nd. We'll have day and evening hours. And that tax preparation is going to be available for students, for staff, for faculty that qualify within the income guidelines, and also members of labor unions.
That's terrific. You got over 100 students in the management program willing to volunteer their time to do that. That's wonderful. Now, how do people find out, and if they haven't written down tonight what we talked about, how can they find out where these pop-up sites are and where the colleges and the Rhode Island College program is going, when it's going to take place?
Absolutely. So
And maybe somewhere on the campus where it is as well.
Yeah. So for all the regular pop-up sites that Roshni had talked about, United Way 211 would be the best place to find out about those. And about the Rhode Island College sites as well, and specifically within Rhode Island College is going to be working with us, Connecting for Children and Families, and United Way to promote these text preparation pop-up sites right on campus for those days and any additional days that there may need to come back and do more text returns. So emails will be going out to all the students, staff, faculty, labor union members, with specific details, times, and location for those sites at Rhode Island College.
That's right. That's great. That's going to raise those numbers even higher. But I understand you also have a program planned for CCRI.
Yeah.
Just keeps going, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. This could be a really great year.
I think so.
We're very excited to be able to promote the VITA program. There's just so much opportunity for more Rhode Islanders to be able to save money on text preparation fees, especially if they qualify under the 55 and under income guidelines. So we're going to be working Connecting for Children and Families, United Way of Rhode Island, and CCRI on two of CCRI's campuses in Lincoln and in Warwick. We're going to be there every Wednesday for the month of February during the day, and we'll be working with veterans that are CCRI students, but also text preparation services will be open to other students, faculty, staff, and labor union members as well.
Do individuals have to make an appointment for those events?
Yes, it will be by appointment, and Veteran Affairs Services right at CCRI campuses in Warwick and Lincoln would be the places to go to schedule an appointment. And there will be flyers going around to promote that program and to give out phone numbers or locations to go in and schedule appointments.
Okay, so you've got all these great folks that have volunteered to do these tax preparation for you for nothing. I have someone who's been doing my tax preparation for about 15 years now. I know him. He's a professional and someone I trust and does a terrific job. Tell us about the qualifications of the tax preparers that you have utilizing this service, this free service for the public. What can you tell us that'll help them feel confident about the fact that these folks are doing the right job and know what they're doing?
Certainly. Volunteers that would like to help out with the VITA program get training from the IRS. It's at least a 20-hour training program where they learn about income sources, credits that low to moderate income taxpayers qualify for, anything related to tax preparation to ensure that every taxpayer that comes to any of the VITA sites that are open within the state of Rhode Island and nationally, quite frankly, gets the same type of qualified service from the knowledgeable IRS certified tax preparers. So every preparer takes a certification test, goes through extensive training, and IRS checks to make sure that they're knowledgeable before they give out the certification. So taxpayers can have full comfort that there's going to be two sets of eyes, a preparer and a volunteer, reviewing and looking at every single tax return.
That's terrific.
And just to add to
yes,
that,
sure.
A lot of our volunteers also return every year, so at many of the sites that you walk in, there is a very good possibility that a volunteer might have been doing this for 2, 3, 5 years. A lot of volunteers have great passion for the program, and the certification process that Zoya was just mentioning is every year. So you have to get certified, even like myself and Zoya, all of us, we all have to get certified every single year to be able to do the program. program. So
That's
yeah.
terrific. So somebody who has a favorite waiter they ask for, they can, after years of having their tax preparation
Yeah,
day, I want to get
yeah,
Maria again to do
yeah.
my tax because she does a terrific job.
We absolutely have those requests.
That's fantastic. So I guess both of you, the first show we really explained the earned income tax credit benefits. Just quickly, can you give me an idea of what those credits are?
Absolutely.
What those benefits and credits
Yeah,
are?
so EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit, it's really a bipartisan credit. Everybody likes it because the credit is geared towards low to moderate income taxpayers, but it's also a credit for working families. So anyone, individual, family that has worked as a W-2 or self-employed qualifies for that credit. You could be single, you could be a single parent, a widower, a widow. You qualify for that credit as long as you have a W-2 and either self-employed or business.
That's terrific. Any other benefits that you can think of?
Well, there is the child tax credit. So the child tax credit are for families and individuals with children, and I think under the age of 17, parents qualify for up to $1,000 towards that credit. So between the EITC and the child tax credit for working families, it's a significant tax return that they can, put back right into the local economy and towards their own household, and it's a great benefit. Yeah.
You did a remarkable job last year. You had 13,000 tax preparations done. You helped Rhode Islanders to put $23 million. That's a big number, millions of dollars into their bank accounts and back into the community, as you say. That's remarkable good work, and I hope that everybody who's watching today understands that this is a terrific program. It's a federal program. The United Way goes out of their way to make it as special as it is. They take a lot of credit for this, connecting with children and families, and your organization, Federal Hill House.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, first of all, for the fantastic work that you do.
You.
It's just incredible. And I know the numbers when we do the show next year. I know the numbers are going to be a lot higher, and all due to you and all the great folks that volunteer to do the work with you. Well, that's our show tonight, and I will see you next time on Labor Vision.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen on this channel 3 times each week: Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 5 p.m.